survive, son. I'm a survivor. I will survive, I will survive. And I'm a firm believer. Will forever shine, just to stay alive. That simple means it. Nobody can hold me, man. Nobody can change my energy. Nobody can hold me sick. I will not allow negativity. Nobody can hold me, man. Nobody can change my energy. Nobody can, nobody can. Everybody show me some strength. No weakness, show me a lamb. Strength, no weakness, show them who we are. Strength, no weakness, show me a lamb. Everybody strength, no weakness, show them who we are. And when you roll, your enemies they must tremble. Your enemies they must tremble. Yo, and when you roll, everything has to humble. Everything has to humble. I'm a go-getter. I just go hard, I just go hard. And I'm a kind of fella. Put my trust in God, put my trust in God. That simple means say, nobody can hold me, man. Nobody can change my energy. Nobody can hold me sick. I will not allow negativity. Nobody can hold me, man. Nobody can change my energy.
Are you fed up of your mask or your foggy face shield? Introducing the Fashion Shield from CallAllProNow.com. Keep your hairdo intact, your makeup flawless, and be fully protected. Get the Fashion Shield now. Call 516-387-4246 or visit CallAllProNow.com.
Yeah. You gotta be firm in this time, son.
On time, not sometime, all the time. You guys don't give me the credit to know. You know how hard it is to be on time, like all the time. Like you could just rely that I'm gonna be here. Like you could close your eyes and say, yeah, he's gonna be there at 6. He's gonna be probably 2 minutes after 6, but he's gonna be there. I'm like a reliable parent picking you up from school. Remember back then when you was like a kindergarten and you know your parent was gonna come at that time? I'm that person. You guys are welcome to Ride Along for today, Monday. Yeah, man, I'm the reliable parent. Always get you up, pick you up. I want you guys to pick me up right now, right? This is what I want you guys to do. Everybody go ahead and share the program. Share the program, put it on a page and say I share. Share it, put it on a page and say I share. In fact, don't just share it one time. Share it twice. 3 times. Guys, today we definitely have a story that I want everybody to pay very close attention to. Very, 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 very important story that we have for you lined up, guys. It's important. So as you come in, go ahead and share up the thing. I got to pick up Lacey J. Lacey J is first up today, guys. Pick up yourself, Lacey J. Thank you so much. Lydia James. She's up second. Thank you, Lydia James. Lacey J. Narisha. Patricia. Happy Easter. Hope you guys had a great Easter. All right, so we have 1 minute. I'm looking distracted because I'm sharing the thing. We have 1 minute of roll call. We're gonna start the program today. Just go ahead and share watch party. Yeah. And how you doing, Cicely Celestine? How you doing? Good evening to you. All right, guys, roll call. Roll call. I want everybody to put up the flag. Let me know where you're coming, where you're watching us from. Put up your flag and let me know where you're watching us from. It's Monday. Beautiful Monday, guys. As you come in, go ahead and share the thing and say I share. Share the thing and say I share. Let me see where you're watching us from right now. Wendy, big up yourself. How you doing? A whole minute gone already. Lois, my darling, good afternoon. I know. Isn't that sweet? Time flies, right? Especially when you're having fun, Lacey J. Doris Maureen Charles, how are you doing? Good evening to you. Patrick Alexis, sorry. Grenada, thank you so much, Grenada, for watching. Mavis representing for Grenada and the US. Anybody new? Do we have any new viewers on the program today? Wendy, big up yourself. Do we have any new viewers? I want to see the new viewers. Lacey J, Grenada all the time. I want to see the Jamaicans. I want to see the Vincentians. I want to see the Guyanese. I want to see some of the new viewers, some of the brand new viewers. Put up your flag. Margaret, how you doing? Big up yourself. Thank you so much. Kizzy Caton, thank you so much for locking it down. We appreciate you all the time. Big up from Orlando. Doris Morin Charles from Orlando. Big up, thank you so much. All right, guys, today's program, you're going to learn a lot, right? Because it's not only for people who went through the process already, this devastating process, and it's a demon kind of process. But I want people who are fearful and need to find out more about how to deal with this dreadful disease called COVID-19. I want you guys to watch it, and I want you to share it to a friend, because we're going to have a lot of information. This is first-hand knowledge information today, right? From a friend of ours. He's no stranger to the platform. He's right there. This man that you're seeing right there, the strong, the energetic, the debater, our resident Jamaican, Chopper John West has a story to tell. This brother, I'll never see his strength just now. But in the meantime, I want everybody to share the program. For the Jamaicans, I see the Jamaicans. Yes. If it's, hey, Doug, Vinci Massive, big up yourself, Doug. Big up yourself. Abigail, thank you so much. Ian Peters, big up yourself. Narisha from Toronto, big up Canada. Patrick Conwell from Canada. Lacey J, I see you already. Deborah. And everybody. Guys, thank you so much. Let me end it off here. The roll call. We're gonna finish up the roll call on the other side of the program. Thank you guys so much. As I said, guys, this program today is all about COVID-19 and dealing with the dreadful effects of COVID-19. Now, Chopper John West, as I said, is no stranger to Ridealong Live. He also runs his own platform. He's our resident Jamaican friend. He's always here to debate with us, but today he's here to share his story. Chopper John West, welcome to the Ride. How are you doing today, sir?
Greetings to everybody, all my Grenadians, all my New York folks, all my Trinis, and all my Jamaicans. I started out with my mask on.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to basically show the importance of masking, because I believe that's one of the most important tool in the arsenal of tools that can fight COVID. So I encourage people to wear your mask. But greetings, everybody. Thank you for having me, Junior.
Absolutely. Chopper, again, we really appreciate you. As I said, we've spoken about so many different things. And when I found out that you had COVID was right after I got over my COVID diagnosis, my whole COVID run. But it's all about you today, because I think your story could help people understand how they could deal with this dreadful disease if or when they ever were diagnosed with it. So let's start from there, Chopper. How do you think that you got COVID? You as careful as you are.
I until today I'm still not certain. I have my own views as to a couple of possibilities, but there's nothing concrete. As you mentioned before, I've been extremely careful as it relates to COVID. I wear my mask consistently. I never go anywhere without my sanitizer, and I have in various forms.
Right.
I've never, I'm the type of guy who will always be spraying down, always making sure that I'm covered anywhere I go.
Right.
I have my mask and I have my sanitizer always. I stay away from crowds. I don't do crowds. I don't go in the bank unless I have to. I do the drive-through. And in the drive-through, I get a chance to make sure I sanitize. So I follow protocols. I don't do any gathering of such. During the elections, when we had the election campaign in Jamaica, I said to myself, if I didn't catch COVID then, I will not catch it again.
Right.
Because that was the biggest exposure to people. And ever since the election campaign, I have not been in any mass crowding since. So the truth is, Junior, I have no idea where I would have caught COVID.
Wow, wow. Let's take it back because you sharing a story that I hear so often, right? People who have been extremely careful, hand sanitizing, masking,
Yes,
not going through crowd, social distancing, protocol, protocol, protocol. They live protocol,
live it.
and they end up catching COVID. So, based on all the things that you're doing, where do you think that it could have possibly come from?
Well, when we narrow it down and we look at it, it could possibly be that it came to me as opposed to me going to it. In other words, I think I might have caught COVID in the most secure space that I exist in, which is at home.
Uh-huh.
And one of the thing is when you have young people around who could possibly be exposed,
Right.
um, then and young people, if they even caught COVID, they really show very little symptom, if any.
True.
So they would have come back and we co-mingle and all that stuff, and they show very little symptoms, and of course we could pick it up. So that's one possibility. Still can't narrow it down because there's nothing to say it is. You know, it could very well be other exposures. It takes just a simple you learn your guard. Because like I said, I've been extremely careful, but it could have been one of those situations where you just felt like you're comfortable, you're chatting away, you're doing stuff, you get caught up in the times, and you just forget one time to sanitize, and that's it.
And that's it. And that's it. Tell us your COVID journey, Chopper. From the time that you found out, what was some of the first set of symptoms? Because everybody have it differently, and I'll share a piece of mine, but I want to hear yours.
Well,
What was the
mine was it started out on a Sunday evening, I think. I got a little damp in the rain, and by Monday afternoon, by about noon on Monday, I felt a little tingling in my throat, just a slight little tingling, no sore throat or anything. But I've been so conscious of what's happening around me. So any little um, strange feeling, you start to look.
yeah,
So I felt that little tingling in my throat, and by afternoon on Monday, I immediately, just that feeling alone, I start to isolate myself, and I watched. And by Monday night, I start to feel a little worse. And by Tuesday morning, it continues. I start to feel like, oh, you just don't want to lie down. You feel a little woozy, you feel a little weak. But then by Wednesday, I start to run a temperature.
uh-huh.
And I think it was by Wednesday I started to check my temperature. Actually, use a thermometer to check. And I realized I was running a temperature somewhere around about 99 to 100, 100.9, thereabout.
But it looked like it was a kind of low grade fever because
That
that's
was low
still kind of
grade.
yeah.
Yeah, low grade. So by Thursday, Friday, though, that fever went up to about 100.9,
Ooh,
101, thereabout. It hovers somewhere in about, I think the maximum it went on Thursday was about 101. So by then, I decided that I'm going to go get a COVID test. So
right.
this was on Saturday. I made some arrangement and I went and I got a PCR test. And I came back home. I did the same thing I did before, isolate myself, and I started to take some Panadol. I took some. I took some uh, various fever reducers and all that stuff because I
Right.
start to run a fever now, and that fever start to make you feel uncomfortable. I run through the weekend. Try to keep hydrated. I didn't lose my sense of smell. I didn't lose my sense of taste. All I had was fever. That fever came with joint pain. So all your
Mm-hmm.
joints start hurting. Just about every single joint, every single section of your body start to hurt. I kept, talking to people who would have experience in treating COVID patients. Those persons would have guided me as to how to proceed. They start originally to say, hey, look, it's COVID. We've seen this. We know this. It's COVID.
Right.
So immediately, we start, like I said before, from the very first day, I started treating it as though it is,
Right.
even though I had no concrete evidence that it was COVID. Um, so I started to follow up with the fever reducers, the Panadols, the multi symptoms, and all that stuff. And to an extent, they work for the first couple of days, and then after a while, they didn't work.
Mm.
Doesn't matter how much I took, they just did not work. And the fever started to get worse. We run to the weekend, and by Monday, Tuesday of the following week, it got worse.
How
Fever
bad?
now
How bad?
running
How bad you got
100
by
and
then?
second, Junior.
How bad you got by then?
Now the fever started to run somewhere in the region of 103.8,
Ooh.
0.9. Never got to 104. It got to about 103.8 and thereabout. Now, one of the things, Junior, remember I told you I had no other symptom except for fever.
Yeah.
No sore throat, no nothing else. But that fever, once it hit 103, that at that stage I lost it. Your brain start to function differently. I had a pro I, on my platform. I had a show a few weeks ago where I talk a little bit about my COVID experience. But there's one aspect of my COVID experience that I never spoke about,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the mental effect that it has on you.
The psychological effect.
Psychological effect. The psychological effect, because there is something about COVID that plays with your psyche. Um, I have never in my life, I'm a tough guy. I've never in my life, I have no fear. I fear nothing except God. So when I got to a stage where I felt fearful, that was cause for concern. I started feeling as though I was treading down that end road.
Wow.
I've never felt like death was somewhere in my space. And that was how I felt. Um, there was a particular evening, and I think it was the very same evening when the fever reached about 103.8, and none of those Panadols or anything that I'm taking could help. And the only thing I wanted at that point was to talk to somebody.
Yes.
That's the only thing I needed at that point, was to at least have somebody to say something to. You were reaching out for somebody to keep you afloat because you were sinking. Um, Luckily, I was blessed with a group of folks who were right there. I had people around me constantly, every single day. And Juna, one of the things I want to really emphasize on is one of the things I believe personally. One of the things I believe that why we have lost so many folks to this virus is because people were not allowed to be around their loved ones. Because
Yeah.
that's a missing piece. I cannot imagine if I was in an institution where nobody was there to talk to me, nobody was there. I would have been gone, because that's where I reached. I reached a point where I I literally ask folks to, hey, come here, stay right there, don't move, let's talk.
Mm-hmm.
And
Were
at
you
that
feeling
point,
paranoid? Was it a paranoia?
I don't know what it is, but when you start to look at preparation for you not being on Earth,
Right.
that's a different ball game, Julia. Now you know I have a 9-year-old,
Yeah.
and at that point, you start to look and question yourself. And I remember vividly, literally talking to myself, asking myself the question: have I done everything I needed to do to ensure that my boy was secure? I remember that question. I asked myself that question about 10 times at that stage. I just keep going over that question because you felt like you were basically at the end. Because the fever, then again at one point you were talking stuff that wasn't even relevant. And that was what I was told by folks who was there.
You were saying all kind of things.
Yeah, you were talking stuff that wasn't relevant to now, to the conversation that we were probably having. And you were just going off script or going off course in your conversations. So that was the psychological part of it that really had me puzzled, and I was struggling to try and figure out what was going on. You know,
Folks, if you just join us, this is our friend, our Jamaican brethren, Chapa John West, and he's sharing his COVID experience. Now, this is serious stuff, guys, because for those of you who had it before, you understand, you kind of understanding what he's talking about when he say the kind of paranoia and he feel like his mind and is a kind of psychological effect. And I completely understand what he's talking about. And he felt like he needed somebody there. Now, Chapa, when you say you needed someone there, let's go back on this a bit, right?
mm-hmm.
Did you need like reassurance, like you was gonna be okay?
No, it wasn't necessarily reassurance. I just wanted to talk. I just wanted to stay alive, if you ask me. That's basically what it came down to. And the only thing that makes you feel like you were still here is if you could talk.
Right.
So I had a good conversation, even though my fever was at 103 plus. I was talking, I was conversing, I had conversation because that was the only thing that made me feel somewhat comfortable. Because
Right.
there's nothing I can do at this stage about the fever. But here's a part of it, Junior. The Cornwall Regional Hospital, which is the major hospital in the city that I live, that hospital I know was under pressure.
Uh-huh.
So at no point did I really wanted to go to the hospital or to that hospital. I
Hmm.
wanted to go see my doctor,
Right.
but my doctor would not see me because my doctor needed for me to present to them a COVID test.
Right.
Why? The doctor cannot treat you for nothing unless they can verify if you have or you don't have COVID. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because what happened at that stage, Junior, is if they treat you for something, whatever it is, and you have COVID, whatever they're treating you for could conflict with COVID and make the matter worse.
Right. Right.
So they wanted to know whether or not. Plus, it was for their safety as well. But at that point, I did not get my COVID test back. So I have no test. I have
So they
no
couldn't
test
prove they
result.
couldn't prove if you did in
Have
fact have
or I
COVID,
don't have COVID.
but you had all the symptoms and
But I
more.
had all the symptoms. So I decided to go to a private hospital, which of course the private institutions are now more about the money than anything else. So they're gonna take you in, irrespective. So they took me in and they ran all the necessary tests, did all the blood work, they actually did a COVID test there and then. And funny enough, Junior, at that stage, my oxygen level was low. So they had me
Ah,
on oxygen for a little while, did their blood work and all the other stuff that needed to be done, rehydrating and all that good stuff. So I was on drip all day. Now, the conversation with the doctor then is that, okay, they have now regulate my temperature
uh-huh.
through IV. The other thing that they wanted, the other puzzle that they wanted to solve now is why are you running a fever?
Right.
Something is happening while you're running a fever. There's nothing in your blood work that says there is anything that should cause you to be running a fever. They decided to do a chest x-ray. Boom, they did a chest x-ray. Took a few, probably half an hour for the result, for the stuff to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, that chest x-ray showed that both sides of my lungs had infected.
Wow. So hold on, Chopper. So it actually got so far that it
Yes.
started to damage your lung.
So COVID is like a parasite that goes in and out.
Uh-huh.
Comes in, it's like a bulldozer walking through your body. And it damage whatever it can damage and it goes.
Right.
Goes off to somewhere else, to somebody else, whatever it is. But when it leaves your body, it leaves whatever damage it would have done, whether it is to your lungs, whether it is to your kidney, and it looks for the most vulnerable areas in your body. For me, I don't smoke, I don't drink, so I have no lung issue prior. I had no preconditions. I have nothing that could possibly invite COVID in. So it came in. Of course, it's a respiratory virus, so it's gonna go to your lungs, which is what it did. So the doctor saw that and immediately came to the conclusion that this is why you're running a fever, is because your lungs on both sides is infected. What do I do there now? Now here's the sweet part of it, Junior. Remember I told you that I did not want to go to the public hospital, right?
Yeah.
Because I know that that hospital is overwhelmed and I was a little bit worried. I didn't want to put any extra strain on the system, so I'm avoiding that. When the doctor finished, he said to me, okay, even though you have a negative antigen test, I am convinced that what I am seeing is COVID. I don't understand what that means, Junior.
Right.
I have a negative test.
Yeah.
I have a negative test. But at the same time, you are telling me that my symptoms are are synonymous with COVID. And the bottom line is that private hospital is not certified to admit COVID patients.
Mm-hmm.
So the doctor says, I will have to transfer you to Cornwall Regional. It's the same hospital that I did not want to go to, right?
Yeah, and Deanna Winter Funday, she's saying that Cornwall is a terrible hospital.
Cornwall is one of the major hospitals, and I tell you, I wouldn't say it's a terrible hospital because we have to put that in context. Cornwall Regional is one of the oldest hospitals in Jamaica. Matter of fact, it's one of the oldest hospitals in the West. It was donated to Jamaica, I think, by the Canadian government back in the 1960s or 70s. Don't quote me. Long ago, very, very long ago. And it's an old building. It's a building that has been under renovation. As a matter of fact, the main building for Cornwall Regional has been gutted for over a year now. So the main
Mm-hmm.
building has no functions at all. Funny enough, they have been able to retrofit independent buildings around on the same compound and was able to offer pretty much all the services that Cornwall Regional would have normally offered. So I wouldn't say it's the worst. I would put that in context and I would have to explain to people that this is why it is where it is.
Right.
However, when you're looking at that hospital and what we're going through, a pandemic, you now start and you understand what could possibly exist at Cornwall. And that was why I was fearful. I didn't want to go there because here is the reason, the premier reason why I didn't want to go, Junior. The primary reason was if, excuse me, sorry guys, excuse me, Junior. If you go to Cornwall and you go to Cornwall for just you're sneezing, you're coughing, you have asthma, whatever it is, automatically, if you have done a COVID test and you're showing any symptoms for COVID, you're going to be treated as a COVID suspect. What does that mean? That means you're going to be in an area where COVID patients exist. And
Mm-hmm.
what that means to me is that even if you don't have COVID, you're now exposed to COVID.
Right, right, right,
That
right,
was my
right.
biggest fear, and that was why
Yeah,
I didn't want to go there because I didn't know if I had COVID.
right.
So when the doctor told me that I have to go to Cornwall, they put me in an ambulance and they sent me over to Cornwall Regional. When I got to Cornwall Regional Junior, I was good. I had no issues. I had no breathing issues. I was pretty much good because they got me rehydrated. They got my fever under control. The only thing I have at this point is the infection on my lungs. And
So we're
even with
talking what time frame? What time frame is that? How much days are we talking?
we're talking about one day from one hospital to the next.
No,
I
how
spent the
much
entire
days were
day.
you exposed for that? About how many days were you exposed at that point?
Okay, so this was probably week two. This
Week
was about
two.
week two. So I'm about 14. I'm about 14 to 15 days now in or
Wow,
thereabout. Probably I would want to say I'm about 16 days in at this
wow.
point.
'Cause Andrea saying you what they call a long hauler because that's a usually people have symptoms in the second to the fifth day, and by
Yes.
the 14th day everything start to get good.
Yes. So but the thing is, when I went to that private institution, I spent the entire day there. And they would have got me, everything was good. So by the time I got to Cornwall, I was good. But my biggest fear is that they are now going to dump me on the COVID ward with everybody else.
Ooh.
And that was my biggest fear. No, Junior, like I explained to you just now, Cornwall Regional was overwhelmed. They had a lot of people in there, and like I said, a lot of makeshift outdoor facilities had to be retrofitted so as to keep service going there on a normal basis. And when you couple that now with COVID, you can understand. When they took me from that ambulance and to wheel me inside where the COVID patients are, Junior, George, that journey from the ambulance to the COVID ward or to the lobby of the COVID ward, that was perhaps the most scary journey I've ever had in my life.
Explain the feeling. Before you explain the feeling, let me bring everyone up to speed, guys. We're talking to Chopper John West, and he's explaining his COVID experience, and would call a long hauler going on 2 weeks and with major symptoms. And at this point, he have not yet gotten a positive test.
Still don't.
Still not right. But have all the symptoms, damage to his lungs and all of that stuff. So we have some breathing issues. We have some breathing issues to discuss. His temperature went up to over 103, and by that time we're talking probably going into brain injuries kind of territories. And in that type of area, just said that he started to feel like it's more psychological. It's like something is playing with his head. And privately, Chapa also told me that all sorts of things that cross his mind, things that
Never
would
ever cross your mind.
never cross your mind. And I could confess, Chapa, I could confess to some of the things because I know the feeling. You sort of gotten kind of suicidal. You kind of have that mind. I don't know. It crossed your mind like it did cross my mind, and I never thought of those things before.
Never.
Did when you say psychological, did you have like an onset something like any kind of thoughts like that?
No, I think the psychological effect it gave me is starting to think in my mind that you could possibly die. And
Yeah,
what if you die? Have you
yeah,
done enough to make preparation that when you leave, everybody who you are supposed to be cared for is good? So
yeah,
you start to basically plan your exit.
yeah, yeah. Wendy, who's a nurse, right, and she's watching as well. She also had COVID in sometime last year, and she said she did a story on the program. She started to see dead people, and it's funny because Chris Cuomo did an interview, right?
Yeah.
One time when he said that he saw his father Mario on his bed,
Oh wow.
right? He said that he saw his father in not in dream, like in real life. He was
Yeah.
just sitting on his bed. quickly, let me tell you, with my story, I was seeing dead people every day.
Oh,
Like
wow.
I was seeing dead people in the morning, in the evening, in the night. I was just seeing dead people. And the other thing is, I don't know if you experienced that, but it's like COVID was talking to me.
Yes.
It was like telling me stuff. Like it's funny because I tell people, I'd be like, "What do you mean COVID was talking to you?" Yeah, it seemed like it was talking to you and telling you crazy stuff. And it's weird because I'm knocking myself. I'm like, yo, let me not think about it. But it's like talking to you in your head. It's like telling you stuff in your head,
Yes.
and this thing could send you crazy.
It could. It could. Well, so, but you know, when you talk about dead people, I told some folks that when they wheeled me from the ambulance to the COVID ward, that journey going in, because of course, like I said to you, by this, the hospital was full. Um, there was no beds available. There was no beds available, and that's why I keep saying to people who still believe that this thing is a joke, you need to walk down that hospital corridor when there were people on both sides.
Yeah,
All I saw on both sides, and I've said this time and time again, all I saw on both sides going in was what you could say was dead people. Because all I saw was people. Every single person I saw was either on oxygen or had something in their nose. They were all just leaning back. You could, I don't know what to say, man. That was, no, Junior, think about it. I'm coming out of hospital, which was pretty smooth.
yeah,
I'm coming out of a situation where I felt good. I'm good. I think I'm okay now. No, to bring me back into a situation that mentally I did not want to be in from the jump.
yeah,
No, I'm going in there. And on my journey in, all I saw was death and sickness. Going in there, Junior, I start to say to myself, I'm not coming back.
yeah. Mm.
This is it. When I went in there though, I saw a friend of mine, somebody I know very well, and he was there before me, and he had about 3 or 4 seizures in the same day because he had high blood pressure and his pressure.
I, I'm here. No, I'm not hearing you. Guys, we're talking to Chopper John West, and he's sharing his story. He's fixing up his audio. You back, Chopper?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, cool. Yeah, go ahead.
Good. So I saw him and he was in there, and I say hi to him, and basically, because at that point, physically, I'm good. And the truth is, I have no documentation at that point to confirm that I had COVID. So the people who came with me, all my family and folks who came with me, were outside, and we were talking about me not going in there because I'm
Yeah,
not supposed to.
right.
So when I went in there and they started to do the documentation to get me registered so I can get a bed, remember, I'm not sick. At this stage, I'm good.
Yeah, yeah.
So the senior person inside called me, and they were talking to me through a telephone. And when she finished talking to me, get my credential and stuff, I asked her, I said,
Okay, he's fixing up his audio,
yes,
and okay, he's back. Yeah,
yes. So I said, can I ask you a question? So I put the scenario to her. I said, I'm a transfer from another hospital to here. I've done a test at that hospital and it says negative. Can I
right,
ask you a question? Why am I in here?
right.
And she couldn't explain because that's protocol. Once you're once you're a suspect.
Yeah,
So I was treating as though I was a suspect. But
right.
anyhow, I had some folks on the outside who was making and pleading my case to higher ups, and through a few connections, they made a call on the intercom and asked me to come back outside. And I went outside, and a couple of doctors saw me, looked at me, did their checks, looked at my paperwork that came over from the other hospital, and they said to me, well, based on what we are seeing here, we don't think that we needed to keep you here. We're
Right.
going to give you what we need to give you for treatment for those lung infection, and you go home. So
Right.
that was how I escaped spending the night
At the hospital there.
at Cardinal Regional. But
I
the
want to,
journey,
I want to stick a pin there. I want to stick a pin there because the journey is something that is very important. I want to talk about, right? But I want to go back a little bit,
yes,
right, Chopper? Because I'm watching some of the comments. I have a friend. What's her name? Let me see if I could pull her up. Let me see if I could pull her up. Okay, Spice Chick. She also said that she had COVID, right?
yes,
And the common denominator of all this post, Chopper,
yes,
is how people feel like they was in a horror movie.
yes.
That point of that like stagnation in your life,
There are people
right?
who I'm seeing right now. I told you there's images of at least 3 persons who will never ever leave my mind. A matter of fact, so funny, huh? So funny. Like 3 days ago or 2 days ago, a friend of mine told me. Listen to what the guy told me, Junior. He
Mhm.
said to me, a friend called me and told me that they saw you at the hospital,
Uh,
and you were in Jamaican term wiling up the doctor.
oh,
I was plead my case that I don't need to be here.
right.
And they called him to say, hey, I saw Chopper, he's at Cardinal Regional, and he's doing this, and he's, behaving bad because
Were
he
you
wants to
conscious?
go.
Were you conscious of all of that?
Yes, I was conscious that I was having like I told you before, I was having a conversation with the doctor.
Right.
I don't know if I was being, I just simply asked a question. But in the back of my mind, I was not going to be there because I never felt sick. I wanted to go home. And plus, I was fearful. Junior, I
Hmm.
was fearful.
Yeah.
I don't like hospital, period. And to bring me along that hallway where both sides, all I'm seeing is old people either hanging from an oxygen tank or some old folks sitting back. I don't know if some of these folks are here with us today. Some of the ones
Yeah.
I saw going in, I don't know if they're here with us today. There was a image. There was a gentleman who was sitting exactly in front of me. He had a big tank stringed up to his face, getting oxygen. And I think it was his daughter or some relative of him who was going back and forth trying to figure out and get stuff going. And I had to say to this gentleman, the old man, I said, Pops, just hang in there. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. And I was that image will never leave my mind. That gentleman was sitting exactly in front of me. So fast forward, Junior, when they called me on the intercom and asked me to come back outside, they told me they're gonna get a porter to push me in the wheelchair. I
Mm.
said, no, no, no. You don't have to get any porter. You don't need no porter. I'm good. I get up and I walk.
But how
I
you?
got to go.
Yeah. Anything to get out of there.
Anything to get out. I was speeding through the hallway. Didn't want to see what I saw coming in. So I head out. And
Yeah.
I would tell you, Junior, that one of the key things in this journey was having people around you to support you. That mental support is extremely important. It's extremely important to have people around you to guide you and especially when you have people who work with COVID patients in different hospitals. They were able to give you certain guidelines. Hey, don't worry about this. Don't worry, that's normal. For example, when my temperature reached 100, I panicked. At 100. I said, wow. And when I share that information with folks, they say, oh, don't worry about it. 100 is good.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
I wanna dive in a little bit there on when you say having people around you, right? Because my circle, one of the most important person, of course, my family was there,
Yeah.
and but I had a friend, and she's on the live right now. She's a nurse, Wendy, right?
Yeah.
She been through the process, and I was calling Wendy like 5 and 6 times a day. Like,
100 times a day for me. I felt bad at one point. I said, oh my God, I'm sorry. But
yeah, me too. I said, I'm sorry to call you so much, but am I supposed to be feeling a twinkling in my toe? I
I
could laugh
count,
with it now,
I
but
had at least three
uh,
persons, one of which I know who worked with COVID patients every day almost. So I relied on her. And I had another nurse lady. One was in the United States, one is in Canada. And they are more exposed to COVID than anybody else. So I relied on those people to basically keep me alive.
mhm. But this is one of the things that if anyone have not yet gotten COVID, this is something I want you guys to put on your. Well, I hope nobody get no more of my friends get COVID, right? But if you do catch COVID, I want to give you guys a quick advice. And Chopper, you could share yours as well, right?
Yes.
One, guys, make sure that you have these three things, at least these three things right now. One, zinc, right?
Yes.
Two, vitamin D and vitamin C, right? Wendy made sure that I had those things. And also, guys, my mom made sure that she made a
Steam.
concoction for me.
For the steaming.
Steam is
Yes.
good. Steam is excellent. But the concoction that she also made for me was turmeric, ginger, garlic, and just drink that hot all the time.
Yes.
I think that that is so important in terms of just keeping your inside just burning hot, because you know the garlic will just keep your inside real hot. The zinc, the vitamin C, and the vitamin D are three very essential components that I think everybody should. In fact, you should get zinc and just start taking zinc. Just start
Yeah.
taking
I
zinc as
took
a
a lot
vitamin.
of zinc during the same period as well.
Yeah, it's
And,
good.
and the zinc, vitamin C, I did that as well. I think those were very important. I had a lot of orange. I did a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables. I had fruit
Yes,
almost every day. Pineapple, oranges, papayas, almost every day.
yes, and where do people come in? People that you need are in your circle. With me, I would advise. I I just you just need someone to just give you the reassurance and say you're gonna be okay, because it goes into your mind and your mind is telling you you're gonna die. You need a distraction.
Yes.
You just need to distract your mind from going there, because that is half of the things that were killing people, because I remember one time I was at it and I started to feel like things is going really bad. I wasn't feeling bad, but I just started to think that things is going real bad. All of a sudden, I started to my blood pressure went up and I started to breathe hard and I felt like I was getting sick. Only because my mind was playing like he was playing tricks on me and I wasn't feeling bad before. So I just needed someone there to say, okay, you're gonna be okay, you're gonna be all right, everything is gonna be okay. And the point where I'm telling people that COVID was talking to you, um, at one point, and I never shared this on any live before, right? And as I sit here today, God is my witness. I have never ever contemplated suicide. Never. I mean, I talk people down off ledges all the time,
Yes.
right? I never. And honest to God, I sat there and I looked through the bed, the window that was right next to my bed, and something was just telling me to jump through the window. I'm like, what? No, I what?
What did
No,
you
that's
just
not
say?
me. That's not me. Jump through what? I couldn't believe it, Chopper. I couldn't freaking believe it. It's like this. So I tell people, COVID is not a disease; it's a psychological effect. From my personal experience, that's my analysis. This thing is a psychological demonic effect on your mind, and it plays with your freaking mind. It makes you think things that you never thought before. It makes
Have you
you
ever felt? Have you ever felt, Junior, as though it's not gone? It's coming back like a
well.
relapse.
I haven't felt. I mean, I didn't really have it too bad, so I haven't felt any different after the process. But I heard people say that they feel like they're having some kind of relapse, still they have some
Yes.
breathing issues and stuff
Yes.
like that. But I didn't have any type of relapse or felt like I was having any breathing issues after the fact. Um,
I never had that either, but I've heard people mention that they've had that sort of experience where they felt like they were going back into not feeling well again, and The essence of the story, Junior, is, would you believe, though, with all that we have seen so far where COVID is concerned, that there are still so many persons out there who still believe that it's not happening? People are not dying. People are not getting sick. It's
Then
a
that's sad.
hoax. That's the sad part about it.
That's sad. That's
And
sad.
we have to deal with some of those folks in Jamaica. Jamaica is struggling to keep our numbers down. Right now we're on lockdown. We've been on lockdown for the entire weekend, and next week we're going to be on lockdown again to sort of see if we can get the numbers where it needs to be. But even with the amount of death that we have had in Jamaica, and people getting sick, and we have over 500 and 600 cases per day in some cases, um, you still have people who say this thing is not for real. And
Yeah.
I find it very, very difficult. There's a particular group, because all I saw when I never saw any young persons when I walked into that hospital. I don't remember seeing a young person in there. All the persons I saw were probably 50 and above, 60, 70, 80, you know. So I think young people are now believing that they're immune to this virus, and as such, they can just go ahead and live their lives. And I think they're one of the main carriers who is possibly spreading this thing like wildfire. I'm not saying this to make young people feel any way, but it's just the fact.
Yeah.
Because they can have it and don't even know.
And that's the sad part about it. It doesn't really affect them. Well, before, but I'm hearing there are new strands that are affecting young people more so now.
Yes.
It's a brand new strand, you know. Young people are catching it a whole lot more. But Chopper, you posted a video, right? This video right here, I was playing it back and forth.
Yes.
Explain this. Explain what's happening here.
So at that stage, I was home. As you see, I was home. And I was basically recovering. So at that stage, there's two pieces of equipment that they had asked me, and thanks to my nurse friends who have dealt with COVID patients on a day-to-day basis, and they recommend that for to get your lungs back to where it needs to be, you must exercise your lungs. So what you're looking at there is a spirometer, I think the name is, not quite sure, but
Hmm.
I'll get the name and post it up there for you in a little bit. Um, what that does is basically exercise your lungs. You use that like probably I would want to say about 3 times a day, and it helps you to bring your lungs back to where it needs to be. And so I had to use that, and I also had an oximeter where I would my um, monitor my oxygen level, because one of the most critical part of this whole thing, Junior, is when you're released and you're home. When you're released and you're home, you could easily, your oxygen level could easily drop to the point where you die.
Hmm.
And that's the danger. One of the reasons why the doctors always want to keep you in the hospital is because if your oxygen level should go down, they can bring you back. But if you're home,
Right.
you are dead.
Yeah, but the problem is in a lot of other hospitals, they don't have capacity to keep patients, so they're treating them with vitamins, with zinc and vitamin C and vitamin D, and sending them home, especially if they don't, if not, they're not exhibiting major symptoms.
Right, right.
You
So your
know.
oxygen is critical. If you're having oxygen, if you're having breathing issues, you want to make sure that during your recovery, you're watching your oxygen to make sure it's not falling below a certain amount.
Right, right. What are some of the other things that you did, Chopper, and how damaged were your lung, and how is it functioning now?
It's I think it's back where it needs to be to some extent. Um I still think there is additional healing that needs to be done. I am due to do another x-ray in about another few days, probably the end of this week to next week. I should do another x-ray to see exactly if we are where we should be 100%. And then I will have to continue to do, the exercises is important. I'm packing a few pounds that I need to shred. So that's part of the process. Um, to be physically fit, Junior, is also one of the um, best vaccine you can have. If you are physically fit, where your body is, because I give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
There were other persons in my household who I believe caught COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and it lasted for more. And we're at the same age group, and perhaps have grown about almost the same weight, and they would have gotten over it within about 2 3 days. There are
Mm-hmm.
several factors and several reasons for that. That
Yeah.
individual is physically active, way
Yeah.
more active than I am.
And the immune system is
Yes,
obviously
yes,
not
yes. So they
compromised.
they didn't. They were mostly asymptomatic.
Right, right. Lacey J wants to know, did you get any results back from the test which
Yes,
officially said that you had
right. So
COVID?
that PCR test that I did, the one that I just couldn't find, I think about 3.5 weeks later, I got a call to say, "Hey, you had done a test 3 weeks ago, and by the way, it was positive."
Oh wow. Oh wow.
So by then, I'm
You good?
good. Yeah, I'm good. I said
Wow.
thank you, but hey, I'm over the hump.
You know, Chapa, as much information that we could give out there, there's still people that will choose to still go out and do all kind of thing and expose themselves because they feel like they're okay. At the end of the day, we don't really know how your body would take it. There are some people that have no symptoms. I mean, I had mild symptoms, but I didn't know. You had more severe symptoms. What advice do you have for people that's watching right now in ways that you think that they could protect themselves because you did everything
Everything I needed to do.
that you needed to do, but it still catch you. So coronally loopholes, what are some of the things now that, in addition to what they say on the media, that folks could do to additionally protect themselves?
Well, people are now recommending for you to double mask, is to wear two masks, because I think masking is very important, and it's not just from my personal experience, but when you look at the statistics, when you look at countries like New Zealand, when you look at countries like islands like Barbados and Cayman Islands, Bahamas. Cayman Islands is open. Bahamas is getting ready to reopen.
Right.
They have zero cases in those countries. Zero case. They have no case of COVID there. Why? They're attributing their success to the wearing of masks.
Yeah.
And I would recommend that people, you mask up every single day. Everywhere you go, you wear your mask. Avoid going into public. I mean, I did all that and I still caught COVID,
Right.
right? But I wouldn't say because I did all that and caught COVID that you should do it. I think you should do it and do it perhaps even more careful than I did. Because I know that at some point I would have dropped my guard. I don't know where and when, but I knew I did. Just be mindful of your surrounding. If you know people who have been exposed to COVID, stay away from them
Right.
until you're sure that they're well. And if you have COVID, stay away from everybody else. If you have symptoms that could possibly be COVID, stay away from others. Just isolate yourself. You don't have to have any order from any doctor. Just use common sense and isolate yourself. Wash your hands. I will always recommend walking with your sanitizer, but I would also recommend, if there's an opportunity for you to wash your hands, wash it. Wash your hand with some soap, and that is even better than a hand sanitizer. So wash your hands, wear your mask, and just practice social distancing. If you don't have to mingle, don't mingle.
Right. Right. Some good piece of advice there, Chopper. And I'm happy to know that you're doing well, you're doing better. But
Oh yeah.
boy, it was it was an experience like no other.
It was scary.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was scary, to say the least.
Listen, listen. I want to add, actually, I want to add some personal things that to get people aware because, as you rightfully said, you did everything. I did everything. I have hand sanitizer on my loop. I don't touch anything and don't hand sanitize. Wash my hands very regularly. Always wear mask and all that stuff. And I even figured that you could wear 5 masks at the same time, but still catch COVID.
Oh yeah.
I believe the vulnerability is at the in your home.
Yes.
The
Because that's where you drop
vulnerability
your
is
guard.
in your home.
That's where you drop your guard.
Yes, yes. And in my case, it was the same exact thing. It came to your home because at your home you're not wearing the mask. At your home you're not wearing, taking all those precautions, and that's where it comes to you.
Come right for you.
So you have to, some of us have kids that's away at college.
Yes.
Before they come back, make sure they take that PCR test. And also, what I notice, a lot of people get the rapid test. Listen, that rapid test is no good.
But
I,
Junior, let me tell you something that I just realized. Both the antigen test, which is the rapid test, and the PCR test, which is the more detailed test I heard. I think both of them still have the possibility of giving you a negative, a false negative. I just found that out recently from our chief medical officer. She stated that both the tests can give you a negative, sorry, a false negative. Both of them.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's never 100%.
Yeah.
It's never 100%. But I want people to bear this in mind. One, everybody that you meet, just act like if they have COVID, but prepare your body, boost your immune system now.
Yes.
Start taking that vitamin, that zinc, vitamin B, and vitamin C and vitamin D. And also, guys, we ain't even talk about it, but the vaccine.
The vaccine. Yes,
Personal
that's where I
choice.
was going.
That's a personal choice. A lot of people are apprehensive about taking the vaccine, and that is your decision. But if you are on your dying bed, right, you thinking about what the hell could I have done, or what could I do to not end up in the ICU? And I believe after thorough check and conversation with doctors, I think that the vaccine makes you breathe a sense of like ease. Like, okay, you most likely won't end up in the in intensive care where they have to put that thing down your throat because the vaccine acts as that buffer, right? So check it out, speak to your doctor. But I do recommend that folks take the vaccine. But again, it's a personal choice. And Chapa, you could chime in about that. What
Well,
your feelings are
the
on that?
vaccine, the vaccine is a big topic here in Jamaica, Junior. I had a show last night where I had to take to task some of the entertainers in Jamaica, who of course are anti-vax. They're anti-vaccine, and they have a lot of conspiracy theory. But here's what I, here's why I had an issue with some of these guys.
Yes.
Some of the popular entertainers in Jamaica, Junior, they are telling people, hey, don't wear no mask and don't take any vaccine. But those same entertainers, when they go to Africa, they have to be vaccinated before they
Yeah.
enter those countries.
True.
So there's a level of hypocrisy that exists. And I had to take them to task yesterday and to expose some of it, because a lot of these entertainers who are encouraging people not to take the vaccine know very well that when they go to certain countries, they had to take it. Jamaica, if I may add, Junior, and anybody can double check the World Health Organization website now. Jamaica, back in the 1950s, when the Caribbean and South America was being run over by polio, poliomyelitis, and measles, typhoid, all kinds of stuff in Jamaica and the Caribbean. Jamaica was perhaps one of the best country as it relates to our vaccination program, our immunization program. Today, on the World Health Organization website, Jamaica is listed as one of the best country in the region as it relates to immunization back in the 1950s. So we led the region and perhaps the world in the fight against polio and other disease. And it was through vaccination. We had
Yeah.
the best vaccination system logistically in the entire Caribbean. So I cannot understand for the life of me. Every guy who is over 40 in Jamaica has in their system at least 3 or 4 vaccines. Some of
Vaccine.
us
Yeah.
have a mark
Yeah.
here. There are
Yeah.
persons who are 78 years old now in
Yeah.
Jamaica who will show you a mark on the shoulder for vaccine that they got back in the 1960s and 40s. They are still alive today.
Yeah.
Nothing is wrong with them.
Yeah.
So why would
Social media have a big part to play
yeah
in people's apprehensive behavior about the vaccine. And there's a lot of things that circulating, and in a lot of ways you can't really blame. Well, I mean, people still have to check the credible information, but you can't really blame a lot of people because when they look back at things that happened through the Tuskegee experiment, and
yes yes
I mean, I could understand the apprehension. I could understand it.
I can
You know,
understand it.
I could understand it, but I want people to listen to the doctor, the same doctor that prescribed you drug, that particular drug for your headache or for your wound, the same doctor who cut you open and do an operation is the same doctor who might be advising you that the vaccine is safe and effective. Uh, why would you listen to them when in terms of taking an operation, cutting your belly open, or all of that? But you're not going to listen to them in terms of taking a vaccine. I believe that the vaccine is safe and effective, but again, it's a personal choice.
Yes
But we
yes
urge everyone to just check it out because when you are on that ICU, you are begging and crying. You can't breathe. You are asking for anything that could help you, that could make you breathe better. That time, it's too late.
too late
It's too late.
too late.
They could do for you at that time. All right? Nothing they could do at that time. But Chapa, listen, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming and share your story here with us. We're happy to have you on this side of life. And we
Thank you
didn't have
so
to be,
much.
we didn't have to be talking about you. We'll be talking to you.
Thank you, Julia, and thank you to all the ride along folks.
Thank you, my
It's been a
brother.
pleasure.
We appreciate you. We'll keep in
You too,
touch.
please.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Chopper John West.
Forever shine.
You know, we got to thank my brother Chopper John West, guys. He certainly had his share, boy. And I tell everybody, listen, at that point in time when you're laying there by yourself, because all the people who are talking right now and telling you this and telling you that, you know, they don't know about a lot of them don't know about vaccine. They don't know about medical. They know about what video they saw that somebody shared to them. So what I'm telling you guys to listen, speak to your doctor, right? Speak to your doctor and do your own personal investigation. But start it off with your doctor, all right? Because when you're laying there and you can't breathe and you have 105 fever and you're dying literally, and then they have to intubate and put that thing down in your throat, and when they have to come over you and put all of that stuff on you, that time is too late. Vaccine ain't gonna help you then. So again, personal choice. Personal choice. It's up to you. Thank you so much, Sasha. Thank you so much, everyone. Please, guys, do whatever you need to do to avoid catching COVID-19, Jed, because this thing is not normal. It is not normal. It's not a disease. I think it's a psychological effect because it did play a very horrible psychological effect on me and a lot of people that I spoke to. We could correlate our stories, and it's all the same. This thing gets into your brain, it gets into your mind. Mine was talking to me. I swear. That's why I couldn't do a program for a whole week. I felt like something was in my head, honestly, and I didn't have it bad. I didn't have to go to a hospital. Thank God. I didn't have any major breathing issues. I didn't have any major nothing. Just a little low grade fever, you know what I mean? And Wendy and everybody talking to me and reassuring me and saying, yeah, you're gonna be all right. Oh, it's 6 days, you're gonna be there. By next 2 days you could be fine. And that kind of reassurance. And let me show you guys something. I'm gonna play this song, right? This song saved me. This song saved me. This song here saved me. I was playing this song 24/7, even in the nighttime. when these voices was in my head and talking all kind of craziness to me, I had to turn up this song loud, 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 and sing it like if it's the last song I would ever sing. This song right here. This song right here was what really took my mind off of this craziness. This is the song that took my mind off of this craziness. That's all I was playing, and I was singing and I was dancing. It just took my mind off of what was happening, took my mind off of the reality. I was just jamming to it straight. That's what helped me, guys. That's what helped me. So Chopper was right when he said, get positive people around you. And you don't want people calling you and always telling, oh, you feel it, you're bad, you're feeling like you're weak. That just add more frustration to your brain. Make you feel even worse. Right? Start thinking positive thoughts. Start seeing tomorrow. Sometimes it's hard to sleep, but start seeing tomorrow. You know, play a game. Get your mind off of it. Because I believe half of the times is your mind that's tricking you. That's how I feel. Half of the time is your mind that is tricking you. All right? That's how I dealt with it. It's a psychological thing. That was my jam during COVID, Jed. That was my jam during COVID. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for being a part of our program. Don't forget, everyone have a story to tell. If you want to share your story, please inbox us. Catch me tomorrow, guys. We have a very important story lined up for you. You got to watch it. Check for promo and information. Don't forget also, if you have a business that you want to advertise, we want you to inbox us. Oh, I have to say, today is the final day for everyone who wants to enter for the Ride Biz, which, you know, Ridealong and Riders Media. We're giving away $1,000 to a business, to one business that need the funding to take the business ideas to the next level. So we're providing $1,000 in cash. It's a new program that we're doing, a new initiative to support entrepreneurship, and we're giving away $1,000. But today is the final day. All right, today is the final day. So if you want to enter for $1,000 grant from Ridealong and Riders headphones, you got to go on the website and register. Today's the final day. We're going to pick 3 businesses, and one business is going to get $1,000 US dollars in cash to take the business to the next level. I'm going to paste the link. Make sure if you guys are interested, sign up right now. Tonight is the last night. You have a few more hours. All right. Thank you guys. Peace out. Catch me tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Keep that, you see that curtain there? Keep that. You see all of the fanful labor you love to have on display. Keep that, you see that by road.
Don't forget also, guys, if you looking for a video production company to stream your professional event, your event, private event, you can call Ridealong Family, Ridealong Media Group, 212-809-4324. Live streaming for funeral, weddings, and social events, private event, and more. And I'm going to be bossy, take your party like what someone so goddamn, but for sure I take your party like Ridealong Live is also sponsored by Riders Media, Riders Sound. Get your Riders headphone right now at ridersong.com.
Feeling hungry, grab a snack. Caribbean food delight. Jamaican patties, light and flaky. Caribbean food delight. Taste the difference. Caribbean food delight. Grab a patty, take a bite. Caribbean food delight. Quick and easy, grab a patty, take a bite. Caribbean food delight.
Oh yeah. What you do makes a difference, and you get to decide what difference you make.
In 2020, I was nominated for the Carlino award, which is the award for advocacy. It just ballooned from there. I decided to become an ambassador for my area, and my goal with that relationship was to build a relationship with my local politicians here and the ones that represent in Washington, to let them know what was happening with Alzheimer's, give them information, let them know that we need their support and so forth. It just opened a whole new world of people to network with and people who felt as passionate as I did about this cause, and I still do to this day.
All Pro Health Staffing, www.allprony.com. Let's face it, this is not normal times, but life, it must go on. And with all these continued restrictions on get-togethers, you need a streaming company like Ridealong Media Group LLC, one that can stream to all your family members to the comfort of their own homes, both privately or publicly, you decide. One who understands your privacy, one who simply cares. So for that wedding, funeral, public or private event, choose the professional production company with the experience and quality guaranteed. Family can travel? Inquire about our seamless remote participant option. Thinking of streaming your virtual event? We handle it all. From multi-camera video production to streaming, post-production, editing, and more via Zoom, YouTube, Facebook, or any platform required. Call us and speak to our experienced professional team. 212-809-4324. That's 212-809-4324. Ridealong Media Group LLC. We're here when you need us. Come on, this is your opportunity to tap into the $7.3 trillion industry in this COVID time. Get interactive, hands-on in the Forex and crypto market. Educate yourself in this financial industry. All of this is possible right now with a multi-source income generator. This program will allow you to learn while you earn in this lucrative decentralized industry. Take advantage of this trading academy, personal development, create multi-source stream income, trading ideas in this global market, get discount travel with your own portal, bonus token backed by bitcoins, and so much more. For more information, contact Kristen Alexis at 347-834-2852 or Marisha Dash at 646-529-6570. Don't miss out on this amazing opportunity of a lifetime. Call now.